Hi everyone, my name is Lindsay and today we're going to be making paracord keychains. I have a really cool video, but before we even get into that video, I want to tell you a quick story. So I'm just going to get right to it. A few years ago, I started this job where I was helping do some prep work for a camp before any other program staff came. And what that looked like mostly was like counting forks and plates and seeing how many tables we had in the dining halls and I don't know, inspecting the cabins, like things that were pretty straightforward and easy to do, but they're really important to making a camp like ready for the summer. So one day, my supervisor asked me if I could go out to this rope trail that we have, it's a sensory trail, and make sure it was all in good condition. And she said that if it wasn't, I should fix it, but it probably would be. So I was like, great, that's fine, I can definitely do that. Nothing had happened yet that I couldn't do, so I figured I was fine. So I figured, great, like this will be okay, I can do that. And then once I got there, the rope trail was not okay. Like there were pieces of rope falling off, there were parts where the trail just kind of ended and it didn't pick up again. And I was like, man, I need to fix this, it's not good. And I was suddenly overcome with the realization that I was terrible at tying knots. I just didn't know how to do it. I'd never learned how to tie knots very well, and I wasn't sure if I could fix this rope thing. So I looked at the trail and I tried Googling some knots, but my phone wasn't working. I was in the woods and I, kept trying and practicing and trying to make it work, and I just couldn't do it. So I called my supervisor and then she showed me how to do the knots that I needed to do, and it was really helpful. But it was a moment of realization for me where I was like, wow, I've never been in a place in my life where I really needed to tie knots. So what we're gonna do today is practice tying knots with paracord. And paracord is a really common type of rope that's used in camping. It's used for different adventure exploration activities. You can use paracord to tie up a hammock. You can use it to create a line over a fire to hang a pot. You can make a bracelet out of it. You can make a belt out of it. You could even make a dog collar out of it. You can make a leash out of it. It's a really strong rope and it's really functional for a lot of different things. I've seen people tie up tents with it. So important type of rope to be able to use. So people often will have this like tied as a bracelet so that they have it super accessible. What we're gonna do today is tie it as a keychain. And then you could always untie it and use it in like a survival circumstance. But what we're really doing is we're practicing how to tie certain knots. So to complete this Baby Yoda paracord project, you are going to need about 16 inches of brown paracord, about 13 inches of green paracord, about 2 or 3 inches of green paracord which has already been burnt on the ends and the white part inside has been taken out, and about 2 to 3 inches of brown paracord which has gone through the same process. The insides have been taken out, the ends are burnt for you already. So you're going to start by taking your green paracord and we're going to put it on our finger like this, so it's about directly in the middle. Your finger right now is holding where the keychain loop will be. So when I take it off, that'll be the loop of the keychain. So we're going to start with it on our finger, and we're starting with a diamond knot. So to do this knot, you're going to take the right strand that's coming down, and you're going to make a loop up at the top, and it goes across the other strand. Now what you're going to notice is I didn't just make a loop like this and lay it down, and I didn't just make a loop like this and lay it down. I twisted it one time as well so that it had a very full loop. So I folded it once over like this, so it was crossing one time, and then I twisted it once too to finish the loop. So once you go through that process, and go back and watch that if that was confusing. It took me a few times to learn how to do that part. So I'm just taking it and I'm twisting it once, and then I'm twisting it again, and then it'll sit like that. So once you do that part and you have that twist in there, you're taking this other piece, your left strand, and you're going over under. So first you're going to go under, up, so it's under that one strand, and then you're going to go over this strand here, under the one that's around your finger, and then over this last strand. And what you should have will look something like this. Okay, I'm gonna do that one more time to make sure we got it. So, 2 strands, taking my right strand, making a loop, connecting it there, putting it there, loop one more time so it has a full cross in it. Then I'm taking my left strand and I'm going under the first part, and then over this string here, under this next string. So I'm going to go under, and then over this last string on the end. And then what you have is like this pretzel looking knot. This is actually called a diamond knot that we've just started with. So I have this pretzel looking knot now, and it's attached over here with this keychain section. Now that diamond in the middle is about to be very important. So I'm going to take this strand that's coming out on the right side, and if you see, both pieces of string go over top of an outside edge. This one goes over top this outside edge, and this string goes over top that one. That's important. So I'm going to take this paracord and I'm going to wrap it around, so it goes around these outside parts, up and inside the diamond. And the string is pretty small, so it's going to look kind of little. I'm just going to pull it enough so that it sticks out about 1/2 inch. I'm going to do the same with this side, so watch this. Going around all of this, going through here, well, around there. So I'm also going around this string here, all the way around it, and then up and through the diamond. So now we're here. Now for this next part, I'm going to take it off my finger, but still try to keep it pretty loose. So I can pull it a little bit, but I want it to stay pretty loose still. I'm actually going to take it out a little bit more, because my next step is going to be to put the ears straight through. This is the head. And once we pull it tight, it'll look a little bit better. My next step is I'm going to take these ears and I'm going to slide it through the middle. So I'm going to look for a section where right here there's a hole straight through the middle. I'm going to take my ears and I'm just going to stick it through all the way through the knot. And because it went through the knot, once I tighten, it'll stay secure. So now I'm just going to tighten my knot now that my ears are inserted in. I'm going to tighten, and you might have to pull quite a bit. It's okay now if you pull pretty tight, because you don't want the ears to come out later on anyways. The ears are depending on the rest of the knot being pretty tight to hold them in place. Okay, so if you have any places where the loops didn't fully tighten, you can kind of feed the rope through. Mine is looking pretty good, and this is our Yoda head. And if you wanted to leave it at just the head, you could cut the bottom, dip it in some glue, and then you have a baby Yoda head. But we're gonna give our Yoda a full-on outfit too. Okay, so next we're going to take this piece of 16 inches of brown paracord, and we're going to wrap it around so that half of the paracord is around the back of our baby Yoda. So we're beginning the body now. So we're putting it right up against the head. So here you're gonna make a pretty regular knot. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the right over the left, and then put the left up and down the middle. And that'll make a knot that looks something like this. Just a very simple loop. Then I'm going to turn him over and I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So I'm going to go right over left, so it crosses like that with the right on top, and then I'm going to take the left and go up and through that hole and tighten.
And here you can tighten it pretty tight because you want to make sure it's not falling out. And as I'm doing this, I'm cinching it up as high as I can to the head so that there's no green gaps. Now I'm going to do it one more time where I'm going to go right over left, left comes up, down the middle, and I pull it tight. Okay, for this next one, I'm going to add in his arms. And all we're going to do is make that knot and go left under the right or right over left, and then put the left up and down, get ready. And then here I'm going to pick up my other piece of paracord and I'm going to put it under here. So I'm looking at the back where I haven't started the knot. I'm slipping it inside the knot here, so it's coming up, and inside the knot on the other side, so it's coming up so that I have the two arms sticking up and the knot underneath it. And then when I pull this knot tight, the arms are going to stay right in place. You can see from this side, here's the string from the arms, and on this side the arms are coming out. Let's straighten him up a little bit and then cinch this up as high as I can go. Perfect. So you see there's no green showing and the arms are coming out. I'm going to fix the arms so that they're coming straight out a little bit more, and then I'm going to do that knot again. So I'm going right over left, left through, and I flipped it over there again. So remember, every time we're doing this knot, we're flipping him. We're never doing the knot 2 times in a row in the same place. We're flipping every single time. So I flipped him, and you can see a little bit of green is trying to poke through. Push it up a little, and there you go. That kind of gets rid of the green. So I'm going to do one more knot on this side. You're going to go right over left, left through the middle and down, and pull, fix it so it's in the front, and we're looking pretty good there. So I'm going to say that that was enough times. I think I did it 3 times on each side. Maybe I did it 4, but for me this looks like he's at a pretty good stopping point. Okay, so the last step, now that we have all of this done, we've finished all of the knots, I'm just going to go through and cut off the excess. So this is where you're going to need a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to cut off the extra pieces like this. So I'm going to cut him, and when you're doing this you want to cut as close as you can, but also you want to be careful because if the knot comes undone now, it's going to be pretty hard to redo that last knot. And that's why you want to make sure you pulled it very, very tight before you started cutting it. Because if I lose this last knot, it's not going to be the biggest of deals, but it's going to be pretty hard to recreate once the paracord's been cut. Even here, I can see it's starting to come undone a little bit. So I'm just going to work quick because once we apply the glue, it should hold the knot a little better. So I'm going to cut the green too, as close as I can. There we go. So now I have him like this, and we want to make sure we put him in glue now. This is important because all of these ends here haven't been burnt like these original ones. And without burning them, the easiest way to do it is to just dip him in glue, and then he'll come out, and once he dries, he'll be all ready. So let me show you the glue process we're going to do now. Here we go. Okay, so what I have here is actually an old Joel's fruit cup that I'm just repurposing into a bowl. So you can use any kind of recycled plastic thing for this. And then I put in some water and Elmer's glue, and I didn't want it to be too liquidy. I did about 1 part water, 2 parts glue, but I also didn't want it to be not glue enough. So I think when in doubt, add a little bit more glue. But 1 part water, 2 parts glue seemed to be the best. So I just put in my water, I put in my glue, and now it's in this thinner glue mixture. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my little baby Yoda, and I'm just going to dip him right in the glue. And I want to dip him everywhere, not just where that knot is. Because what this is going to do is it's actually just going to seal off all of the rope work we just done so that the knots don't come undone. Okay, so you'll see he's been completely submerged in this glue. And what I'm gonna do next is find a place that I can hang him. So when it comes to hanging him up now to dry, the easiest system that I was able to find was taking a popsicle stick or a straw or a fork or a spoon and just hanging him from a cup. So I'm going to show you that with a spoon now. Okay, so you'll see I have this baby Yoda just dripping right into the cup that I was using so that the glue's not going everywhere, and when it drips it just falls into the cup. And I really just have him balancing on a spoon. Now there are probably better ways to do this. You could definitely just put him on a paper plate, but for me this seemed to make the least amount of mess. And then when he's done, I'll show you the final product.
For this craft, you're going to need 3 feet of any color paracord and 2 beads. So I have a pink and a blue bead, but it could be any color beads, any color paracord, but you definitely need 3 feet. So while we work on tying knots today, we are going to make a dragonfly keychain out of this paracord.
Okay, so hi everyone. What you are going to need for this project are 2 beads, which I've already slid onto my paracord so I wouldn't lose it, and about 3 feet of paracord, and that paracord can be any color. For this project, any color will work, but you will need about 3 feet to make it happen. Also, if for some reason you didn't have the beads are totally optional, but I like using the beads. I think they're pretty cool. So your first step is going to be to slide the beads onto your paracord, which I've already done, and then you slide them to about the middle. So I'm going to check to make sure it's equal on this end, and I want those beads in the middle. Once they're in the middle, you're going to slide them down so they are about, I want to say like 3 inches down, and you can measure that, of course. I'm just kind of eyeballing it to figure out what I think 3 inches are. So this is about 3 inches down, and then to start, we are going to bring the 2 ends down to the side like this. What we have here is the body of our dragonfly, and then this is what we're going to use to actually make the dragonfly. So you need these eyes to stay pretty equal. So you're going to start, this is our first cobra knot, which is the knot that we use for this entire project. You're going to start by putting it across like this. So take one side and put it across, and then with the other side, you want to pull it over top like this so it makes a cross, and then you want to go under and in to this loop here. So I went under everything. I went under this body part, and I went into this loop here. And then here you're really using the beads to hold on to your spot, because you want to make sure this stays about 3 inches. So I'm just tightening this gently, making sure that these beads stay pretty much equal and that we get this 3 inches down at the bottom. So you can see that these beads are the eyes of our dragonfly, and then what we have here is the body. So when you think about a cobra knot, we have one side that's coming up and through, and we have one side that goes under. And we can see this piece right here is the side. Over here, you can't see that. So when I say I'm talking about the side, I'm talking about this piece right here. So you're always going to look at this side to decide which side you're going to go to next, which way you're going to run your string. So now I'm going to take this paracord and I'm going to move to this direction. You'll also notice it's essentially the opposite. We started over here, now we're starting over here. So because it goes under, and because we can see this side, we are going to start with this piece. And here we're making the wings. So we're going to make another cobra knot, but we want it to be pretty loose because the wing we want, to stand out. You'll see in a second. So we're going to cross it here, again, run it over the top. Then we take this piece and we go down, making this T. Remember, you want it to be pretty loose because it's a wing. And then you're going to go under everything and then through the other side. Now for this one, we want to tighten it, but we want to tighten it pretty gently, okay? So we're tightening, and that's about as much as I want to tighten it. Now you can see the eyes are kind of falling apart a little bit. You'll be able to fix that in a second if the same is happening to you. I'm not too concerned about it yet. So we have our dragonfly looking like this, and it has this loose knot. For me, loose knots drive me crazy because I just want everything to be super tight. But we're gonna leave it for a second because we have to go into our next knot now, right? So maybe I'll tighten it just a little bit more. Because I don't want it to be too loose. I want to still be able to make the body. But this is about as comfortable. I'm going to leave it here. So next, we're going to make another cobra knot. So because we started on this side before, we're going to start on this side. And we are going to go over and then cross and go under and through again. And again, we want this to kind of be preserved. So we're going to pull this out, but we can pull this up and tighten it. And what I have here now are two wings right here. I have my eyes, and I've made another cobra knot to tighten it to make sure that wing stays in place. So I have a cobra knot here, I have a loose cobra knot up here, and then I have the eyes up here. I'm going to push this all the way up, and my eyes are kind of a little out of place, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull down here, and this will just tighten the eyes so I can put them. So all I did to fix the eyes was I pulled this string, or this rope, down here. And all we're going to do now is make another cobra knot. So we're looking, I have my line here, my string, my paracord goes under here, and it goes over here. Remember, we're starting where the paracord goes under, so we want to start on this side. We go over, cross again. Now we take this piece and we go under and through. And again, I'm going to make kind of a loose knot because I want to give the dragonfly one more set of wings. So I'm going to leave that loose there and then make one more. So remember, I started over here for the last one, so I'm going to start here now. Go down, over, cross, under, and through. And then this knot I'm going to tighten. And then push it up. And pull this wing out a little bit, pull this wing out a little bit, and I have another set of wings. So that's looking great, and if I wanted to just stop here and I didn't have enough paracord, I could totally stop here and I would have a dragonfly keychain. You can see the body here is two wings and his eyes, but because I do have more paracord, and I have a feeling you probably do too, I'm going to continue and make a few more cobra knots just to finish with the body. So once again, I'm going to look at my cobra knots, and I see that here I have the side and the paracord's going under, and over here it's going over. So that means I'm going to start with this one, and I cross the body, make a T on this side, and then go under and through. And this time I can just pull, and I can pull it as tight as I can because I'm done making wings, and I'm just going to keep repeating that pattern. So now I'm going to start on this side because the side is here, and I'm going to go down, over, cross, under. And then when I go under, I'm going to pull it out and tighten it. Now I'm going to start on this side. I'm going to go down, over, cross, under, and this might be the last one that I can make because I can see that I'm starting to run out. And I tighten it. Okay. So now I'm going to try one more just to see if I can make it work. Cross, go under, down, go under. Okay, so I was able to make that final pull, and that kind of hid the ends. So if you can make it tight enough so that you get that final pull. I mean, that looks excellent. I probably don't have to do anything more. Otherwise, you can cut the ends, but part of the problem with cutting it is that the paracord has other string inside, and what that'll do is it will start to unfurl. Here, I can show you. I have some paracord with me that I cut, and I didn't burn the ends. So it has all of this string on the inside that is all coming out now. So the way that I can fix this is by burning the ends or putting like a really strong glue on the ends, and that has to be done right when I cut it. So this one you can see I did put glue on the ends to keep them firm. Those are kind of your two options there. Here are our two final products after today's video. I have our dragonfly here and our baby Yoda. And the baby Yoda took about 3-4 hours to dry. So I gave him a lot of time to make sure he was completely dry because we did submerge him in glue. And you could do the same and submerge this guy in glue. For me, I didn't feel like I needed to because I didn't cut anything. But you could do that same process if you liked it with him. So there you go. Those are our paracord projects. Thank you all for joining me on this adventure. I hope you've had a lot of fun learning these knots. Remember the two knots that we learned? We did the cobra knot here, and this entire dragonfly was pretty much made of just cobra knots. And then here, the head, we did a diamond knot, and then the body was really just a basic one over the other knot. Thank you all for your time today, and I hope you have a really good day, and I'll see you virtually very soon. Bye guys.